What's goody? It's your host Jay Rose as always, and let's be real about KD. Let me not waste any more of your time and just cut to the chase. I think Kevin Durant is slightly overrated, just slightly, and a lot of people are going to take that and think, well, I must be calling him trash, and that is not the case at all. Calling somebody overrated, I feel like, has a lot more to do with the fan base than it does with the actual player. I see people saying that KD is a top 5 player in the league today, and I don't even think he's the best player on his team. I also see people saying that KD is the best scorer in the league right now, and once again, I don't think he's even the best scorer on his team, so that can't be true. I do think KD is top 10. Still think he's one of the most elite players in the NBA, but I think there's a couple of guys ahead of him, and I want to get into that today. The first point that I do want to get into is KD's placement in the top 10. I don't think KD is a top 5 player. If I had to give you guys a top 5 right now at this moment, it would be Giannis, Jokic, Luka, Steph, and this is going to come to a big surprise, but I'm putting Devin Booker at my 5. Listen, you know this is a genuine take for me because I am a notorious Devin Booker hater, but seeing what I saw in the playoffs, I cannot deny him that spot. I can't. And then at 6, I might have Joel Embiid, and then at 7, I'd put Kevin Durant, and I think that's fair. A lot of people hold Kevin Durant to the same standards we held him at during his prime, and to be honest, this man is 35 years old and he's aging. I think it's okay to say he's aging, he's a step slow, and he's not as good as he was a couple of years ago. I think that's all right. Even that being said, I put him at 7. It's not like I put him outside the top 10 or somewhere in the 15 range. He's still top 10. KD is still a great player, an elite scorer, but I'm not seeing the same efficiency and I'm not seeing the same playoff performance that we saw in the past, so I don't think he's as high as he used to be. If you ask KD, nothing has changed from his time to OKC to now, which I think is insane. He thinks that he's no step slower and he can do whatever he wants on the court, and I just think that's a biased opinion from a biased source.
KD, do you think that you get to the rim less than you did before you got hurt?
I feel like I can do what I want. I can move around, maneuver, and make the plays that I want to make.
Kevin Durant on the court looks slower, and that's not up for debate. It is what it is. Kevin Durant's first step is not as fast as he used to be. He doesn't get to the rim as easily as he used to be. He doesn't finish as well as he used to be, and that becomes an issue once his jump shot stops falling. It makes him become a way less efficient player. A lot of people are going to bring up his raw numbers as an argument as to why he should be top 5, and that's a valid argument in my opinion. In the regular season, in 47 games, he averaged 29 points on 50, 40, 90 splits, which is amazing. But once we got to the playoffs, his efficiency just wasn't there, and that's what makes Kevin Durant special. The shots he makes on the efficiency that he does. So if he's not being as efficient, that means Kevin Durant is not really being Kevin Durant. In the playoffs, he averaged the same 29 points per game, but on 47% from the field and 33% from 3. That's a massive drop-off in efficiency, and we can't just act like that didn't happen. You can chalk this up to it being a bad playoff run for him, but I just genuinely don't think that's the case, especially because the year prior, he averaged the least amount of points since his rookie year at 26 in the playoffs, and he only shot 38% from the field and the same 33% from 3. So this looks like it's starting to become a trend of him dropping off in the playoffs. The players that I have in front of him in my top 10 list either have more to offer than Kevin Durant or are just plain out more efficient than he is. And sometimes both. If you look at a player like Jokic, his scoring clip was higher than his in the playoffs. He beat the Suns. We can just add that on top. And Jokic is one of the most hyper-efficient players I have ever seen in my life. He also brings you great rebounding and great playmaking. So there's really no argument for you to put Kevin Durant over Nikola Jokic, in my opinion. I've seen takes like this, takes that have KD top 3 and then sometimes even number 1 in the NBA, and I just don't see the vision with that. Giannis does not have as many ways to score as KD does, but still gets it done and is still more efficient. He also brings you elite level defense and elite level rebounding. His playmaking has gotten better over the years, and I think Giannis as a player is square over Kevin Durant right now, and there's no argument for Kevin Durant to be over him. Now let's look at what you guys were really probably mad about when it came out of my mouth the first time. Devin Booker is the best player on the Suns. I can't look at what Devin Booker did in this playoff run and look at what KD did at the same time and put KD over Devin Booker realistically. I watched Devin Booker go off every night. He was putting up 35 plus each night. It was a historic run he was on, hyper efficient. Devin Booker was playing out of his mind. If we want to talk about individual attributes, I think Devin Booker's a better shooter than Kevin Durant right now. Honestly, from everywhere on the court, from three, from mid-range, I'm just looking at Devin Booker and the way he's hitting these tough shots, and I'm thinking Devin Booker is the better scorer. Not to mention, Devin Booker is also better at the rim. Devin Booker is a far better finisher than Kevin Durant, under and over the rim. And then we talk about playmaking. Devin Booker is a way better playmaker than Kevin Durant as well. I personally would let Devin Booker run my point guard if I had to. I would not give KD those same freedoms. KD is not as good of a playmaker as Devin Booker is. Devin Booker's defense is also better. Devin Booker's defense is definitely also better. We saw that in the playoffs as well. Devin Booker turned into a real two-way threat. He was definitely going out and looking to lock up whoever was in front of him. So I definitely like the growth and progression from Devin Booker. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with coming up in this next season. I feel like KD's inefficiencies are really becoming an issue because of the fact that his arsenal is not as big as it used to be. Being that KD's been injured a lot and he's lost the first step, he's lost some of his speed. The way he gets to the rim just isn't as efficient. Even when he does finish, a lot of it is tough finishes. I don't think he gets a lot of clear looks at the rim like he should. And especially because his jump shot is so good and a lot of defenders are going to be drawn to come out and contest his shot. He should get a lot of better opportunities at the rim, but he's just not getting those same opportunities anymore. Also, if we're looking at his perimeter game, he is nowhere near as mobile, agile, or creative as he was in Oklahoma City or in Golden State. Even in Brooklyn, if I'm looking at what I'm watching right now, he was a better scorer in Brooklyn. In 2021, I feel like he genuinely had an argument to be called the best player in the league, but today he just does not have that same tenacity on the offensive end. Please remember, I'm comparing Kevin Durant to older Kevin Durant. I'm not comparing Kevin Durant to your average player, so please keep that in mind. This Kevin Durant is still elite, but Kevin Durant a couple years ago was just better. KD looks like he stops and pulls up for a mid-range jump shot far too often, which makes his arsenal look so limited. He usually has the same 1-2 move, the between, hezzy, cross, and that's really the basis of most of his offensive bag at this point in his career. I don't really see him do too much creative or changing up of his styles, and it really does affect him when it comes playoff time. If we watch and look at last year's playoff run against Boston and how Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown really were just picking him apart defensively, we can see that that's because Kevin Durant refused to change his style up. He still wanted to go to those mid-range jump shots. He wanted to stop short. He wanted to just have the hezzy work like it always works. But when it stops working, he's not going to look as efficient or as good. Last but not least, of course, he's aging. He's aging. Father Time beats everybody. Father Time is currently, even with LeBron giving up his best efforts, Father Time is beating LeBron. So I'm not expecting KD to just be this elite, top tier, 1A, 1B type level player until he retires. I'm not. And we're seeing him start to decline, especially his physical attributes. We're seeing the athleticism start to back up and slow down a little bit. So I'm not expecting Kevin Durant to go into 36, 37, 38 looking like the same Kevin Durant he's looked like his entire career. It's sad, but the stars that we know and love are aging. They're growing up. They're about to retire. And listen, Kevin Durant, like I said, still an elite player, but we're seeing the age. We are seeing the age. I would like to say this one more time for my own sanity. So if y'all go in the comments and you say this anyway, I'm not even going to respond. Kevin Durant is still an elite player. I find him to be overrated because of what other people say he is, and to be fair, what he says he is. Kevin Durant still thinks he can do whatever he wants on that court, and what I've seen in the last 2 playoff runs say otherwise. So I don't want to see any more Kevin Durant top 3s. I don't want to see Kevin Durant at 1. But let alone that, we'll say the top 3s, and I'll give you top 5 if he's at 5. I can't put him any higher than that, and I don't think he's the best player on his team either. So if I see Kevin Durant in front of Devin Booker on your top 10 list, I'm not going to agree. I just don't think that Kevin Durant is that same guy that we've looked at all these years. So in my opinion, my humble opinion, Kevin Durant is overrated. I'll catch y'all in the next one.